You're watching my favorite YouTube channel. I'm Chillmong. I'm joined by Danny. Danny, introduce yourself first of all. What are your credentials?
All right, I'm Danielle Atherton Bonner. I am a certified teacher, K through 12 teacher, as of the last 7 or 8 years. But my prior life, I was a litigation paralegal. I got my education from the George Washington University in Washington D.C. I've been working in different areas of law probably since the age of 19. 18, I got my first real law firm job in Midtown Manhattan at LaBeouf, Lamb, Green, and McRae, which is a huge international law firm. Always loved the law. And
Yeah,
back,
yeah, yeah. That's all fine. But what's that? How is that relevant to the Jonathan Majors trial?
well, because I love law so much and I am a Jonathan Majors fan, I decided to sit in on the trial. And so right now I'm here in New York City, which is where I am originally from, but I have since moved to Florida. Um, I've been here since Monday, and I am sitting in and for the sole purpose of ensuring that you guys get a layperson that is not in the media, that is not a journalist, that does not have, requirements to spin narratives to get views and likes and retweets. I'm here to I'm fully on Jonathan Major's side, so full disclosure. However, by nature of my personality and my careers that I've chosen, I am pretty objective. I can give credit where due. I am not anti Grace. I'm just anti smear campaign. I'm anti attempts at humiliation. And that's pretty much what today's testimony was.
I don't
Uh,
even want to get into that humiliating what the dog stuff. He threw something. He said Coretta Scott King. I don't care. I don't care.
yeah, it was all I'm not sure if you guys know, but none of the testimony that Jabari made today that that that
You talking about
chronicles.
Stephanie? You talking about Stephanie?
Okay, I'm trying to understand Stephanie. Who's Stephanie? Because I hear you guys calling her Stephanie a lot.
Yeah, it's her real name. You didn't know that? No, we don't go by that other one. Nope. But I
Oh, her
said
real name is Stephanie.
I'm playing with you. But
Oh,
I said though, I did say that in so I put up a J as you guys can see here. Letter J.
uh-huh.
Jonathan, right? If she wins, I'm gonna make that whole word Jabari. I'm gonna spell her name out and I'll stop saying Stephanie if she wins this. That's the conditions.
Oh Lord, she's not going to win this.
We got Brian Waller who just became a YouTube member. Look at Brian Waller becoming a YouTube member, spending one
Okay,
Canadian
welcome,
dollar
welcome.
to become a member.
And he found you. He probably joined just for you.
Hmm. Give me
Hmm.
that Rand. Let me give you Randy Orton.
Voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
Thank you for the money in the bank. Sorry for cutting you off. Let's go.
Oh no, you're fine.
Important thing
Uh,
that they need to know right now isn't about the fluff that she was adding to this, to which isn't even what admissible as evidence, right? Like all
right,
this is just hearsay, or not hearsay, but it's more so like irrelevant to March 25.
right. So just to be clear, just so that your viewers know if they haven't already seen, everything that she chronicled as occurring prior to March 25th, 2023 is not considered evidence. It's not to be considered evidence by the jury. It is solely for background knowledge. These are the judge's exact words, not to establish propensity or predisposition for the events that occurred on March 25th. So, that being said, we sat there for 3+ hours listening to 2 years worth of traumatic experiences only for it to not count as evidence. So to me, this is a smear campaign and it's an attempt to humiliate him because there were things that were said that's all over Twitter. I don't need to repeat it, that would humiliate anybody and make anybody feel, like this person that, I am on TV has been reduced down to, this, and this, you
Yeah.
know. So I'm not going to repeat any of that because there's plenty of it on Twitter for you to read. But
So she spoke so much about that nonsense that it took all of the conversation until when did they stop? They left off at when she leaves the club. That was like, okay, 4 o'clock. Let's call it a day. We'll be back
it
tomorrow where she takes a stand again.
right. So we were supposed to adjourn at 4. We adjourned at about 4:20. and actually today was all prosecution questioning. So tomorrow, once prosecution finishes, it'll be the defense's turn to cross-examine her. So we started court late. Court did not start until almost 11. It was supposed to start at 10.
Okay.
So from 11
May I ask why?
until I don't know, because
Okay.
nothing was going on. I mean, I was up there in the line at like 9 o'clock, because they open right before 9, about 8:45. They open up the courtroom at 9:15.
You
I
keep
don't
getting
know.
there early.
No, I got there earlier the day before. On Monday, I got there at like 7:30. I said not today, so I got there today. I got upstairs by like 8:45, and then they opened the door at 9:15.
So 11 o'clock, the court begins. Is it the same digital analyst who was there yesterday continuing with his?
No, he was done with. The first, as soon as the jury came in, as soon as the judge, gave his instruction and the whole, yada yada yada. She was the first witness called within 10 minutes of the jury sitting down. She came. It took a minute for her to come out. I'm like, what are y'all waiting for? Dragons and smoke and a red carpet? Because the guy opened the door. The court officer opened the door.
She told us she was biased.
Right. He does this thing where he knocks on the door to either make us stand up or let us know somebody's coming in. And she took forever to come in. I'm sitting there like, okay, what are they waiting for? A chariot? So she came in, she sat down.
And this wasn't the same woman you thought you saw yesterday. Yesterday that
Right.
was your
Okay,
sister.
so yes, let me correct myself.
So
Her
this is
and her
the
sister.
first day she showed up in the courtroom. She wasn't there
Right.
yesterday.
Right. So yesterday, the person that was sitting there, it was the same person there today. The dad showed up today. He's clearly of some type of Middle Eastern descent.
She's from
Uh,
Iran.
oh, he's Iranian. Okay, because you can see it. And the mom, I can't really tell. She doesn't look fully Caucasian, but she doesn't look Middle Eastern either. The sister looks exactly like her, just a little heavier. That's why I thought it was her. Same hair, everything. She could be a body double.
Okay.
And then that's
She
why,
gets
and
there.
I wasn't the one that thought she was the sister first. I asked the reporter, I said, is that her sister? And the reporter was like, yeah. I mean, is that Jabari? And she
Yeah.
said, yeah. And I said, it does look like her. And I kept looking and looking and looking. And I was like,
Sister.
yeah, it looks like her. But her and her sister look just alike. But I want to make mention, because I thought about it after I went home. I'm sure she's keenly aware of the dialogue that's been going on about, oh, he should have left that white woman alone. I knew right away she wasn't fully white just by her name. And as a New Yorker, you're in Toronto. Toronto is New York Junior. Ethnicities just by names, how people look. You just know, because everybody's everywhere, right? So I knew right away she wasn't Anglo white.
Okay.
But she tried to present as Anglo white while she was with him.
The hair was blonde?
Her hair was blonde when she was with him, remember? And there were even some pictures where her eyes were blue. They were not blue today. If you go on her Instagram, there's pictures of her with blue eyes.
You got her Instagram? Is it a public account?
Yeah, it's a public account. It's Grace Jabari, but she turns off all the comments. She's been turning off the comments for months. But it's there. It's Grace Jabari. She's had Instagram the whole time.
I never bothered to check.
Yeah, she even posted for the Barbie premiere, because apparently she's a body double during one of the dance scenes in the Barbie movie. So
I'm happy for her.
Posting. Today, she looked Iranian. She had dark hair, a deep tan, because remember, she was colorless a few months ago. She had a deep tan, dark hair, and dark eyes. So I just wanted to make note of that, because I feel like that was done strategically. Because, obviously, Jonathan's lawyer brought up race. She brought up race as an issue. And, they try to lump all brown people in the same category.
So that was a strategic move. That was like, oh, what are you guys talking about? This can't be white privilege. Well, I think it works in her. It would be more in her favor if she presented white, because white people will get more benefit of the doubt. And if a jury is judging you, to get the best case scenario, you should present as white. So I think that was like a reverse move that is not going to pay off. Either way, I think black, white, anything. I think Jonathan wins this just based off of the evidence, but still.
Right. But it could also bite her in the behind if we're trying to make it a race issue, and his lawyer is. she said, and it was stricken and objected to, but she did say in opening arguments that she thought this whole thing was happening because he was black. So if you can prove that his girlfriend's not even white,
yeah,
or have people think, oh well, she's not white, so why would they think it's a race thing? Because she looked white when it happened. Now she looks ethnic.
okay, keep an ear out. Do they, when Priya Chaudhry is cross-examining, will
Mm-hmm.
she say to her, okay, will she refer to her by the first name or by the last name? Is that
Right.
even allowed? Is that allowed? Are you allowed to use people's first name in court?
Well, because you can say Miss Jabari, because
Which
they
I would
just,
expect would be the normal thing to do. But if
yeah,
they want
they
to try to
wouldn't
make
say
her seem
Grace.
white, yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't say Grace. They would say Miss Jabari, please answer the question. Because the judge even did that, because she kind of went off the rails on a couple of questions. Priya had to object because it was a yes or no question, and it turned into, well, and then plus last week, and they had to stop her. The judge was like, no, just answer the question.
Oh, that actually looks good against the jury. They're gonna be like, "Oh, look at her milking, trying to fish, trying to
Yeah,
make the most out of everything." And I think that since Jonathan doesn't have to take the stand, which he really won't,
I
they
hope.
can. Yeah, I hope not. I hope not at all. Um. Anyways, what's going on, Sissy Majors? She said, "What?" Question. Question. Question.
Hi.
She's private now. Yeah, she's private now.
Okay. I feel like if she still has plenty of pictures on Google that you can pull up, like historical pictures where her eyes, some of the pictures, the eyes were blue, some of them they're brown. So,
My favorite picture of her is the one where we got a screenshot from the police. Is this part of the evidence?
no, we haven't seen that picture yet. No,
It should be in there. It should be part of it.
it's
Just
probably going to pop up. Probably went by the time the prosecution finishes the direct. Hopefully that's done within the first 30 minutes tomorrow, because I've had enough of her. They, like I said, they stopped it right at her coming back from the night at the club with those people. And then the prosecution was like, can we adjourn now? And the judge was like, okay. And then made the jury leave. We stayed behind for about maybe 5 or 10 more minutes while Priya said that Priya was trying to get the judge to change his mind about allowing her to admit into evidence the second half of that video when she's standing in front of the building with the people that she met.
Oh,
And
this one here?
yeah, and right. And when he walks up and she chases behind him and goes out of frame,
there's more video?
there's a part where it's just audio. And the judge wouldn't
Oh.
allow it. And so because the judge wouldn't change his mind about that, Priya was like, okay, well, since you're not changing your mind about that, I have a compilation video of my own that I want to present tomorrow. So she was directed to give it to the prosecution today to review. And if everybody's on the same page, she's going to show her own compilation, because we watched the compilation videos from the prosecution today. Minus
and they're going to make a cut. Oh, sorry, go.
Minus because they objected to when the guy that did the digital editing, there was some parts of the video where he kept repeating the same images more than once. Hey Pam, they cut that out yesterday. So
Okay.
what we saw today was a clean version of each video, one by one, as it should have been, without all the razzle dazzle that the kid did in the office, in the DA's office.
The 22-year-old digital editor who works at the district attorney. Which part did he have on loop yesterday?
They didn't say.
So you can't see it. You're in the room, but
they didn't loop. We didn't see the looped version because the judge
I understand.
made them get rid of all the razzle dazzle. So what
the razzmatazz hop skiddly do.
Yeah, exactly. So what we saw was the unadulterated version of the surveillance video, but they were allowed to keep the maps of, because she chased him for a good 5 blocks.
Really? You saw that?
We saw it.
Okay, but before I ask that, when you're saying you see it, do they dim the lights? Is there like a projector? How do you guys view it?
It's a 60-inch TV. It parked in the corner. We had to kind of bend forward to see it because the prosecutor, she kept standing at the podium. Instead of sitting down and letting everybody see the video, she basically stood in front of so the jury could see it, because the way the TV was sitting, the jury could see it.
Of
but
course.
Us audience, we had to kind of like duck around because she was still standing at the podium while the video was playing. When she sat down.
Who's she?
The assistant district attorney.
Oh, Kelly Galloway.
Kelly Galloway.
Was that on purpose?
Probably, because the media on our side and his family had a hard time seeing it. We were all like this.
Okay.
Trying to look around her back because she was standing in the way of us seeing it from where we were sitting.
Okay. All right, so get into the video. I'm sorry.
Okay, so so you guys have seen stuff that's been released, and they claim that Priya released it for, publicity or whatever. There was a lot that was not released. The first frame that we saw was, so basically the narrative of March 25th, it went left after they were on their way home, presumably.
Because they were in Brooklyn. They went on a night out, like a regular date. He calls the Cadillac Escalade service. They're in the back seat. And a phone, the song "I Was Kissing You" popped up, and from that moment on, a seconds-long physical altercation took place, according to Priya Chaudhry.
Right. So no, but here's the kicker. She says that she was leading. Okay, so I have a Cadillac Escalade. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the interior of one. But the way it's set up, and they actually passed around pictures of the particular one they were in. Obviously, it's a newer, late model, tricked out version. But it's the same.
Do you remember what it was called? I'll Google it.
They didn't say, because we couldn't see it. They just passed around like what looked like a car dealership brochure of the interior of the car. We couldn't see it. They were just passing it around.
Got it.
From a distance, because I know the car. I have the car. So... And this is important because I'm trying to highlight how the story didn't make any sense that she was telling. Okay, so you see that. All right, so that's how they're all set up. From 2006 to 2019, it's the same damn car. Okay.
So there was a third row, or was the second row taken out? Can you do that?
No, this was the full size one with the 3 rows. So you have 2 seats in the front, 2 in the middle. You see the center area, that's about 18 inches wide.
Okay.
For the purpose of you being able to walk to the back row, because that's how you get to the back row. You have to walk to the back row. There's no folding down of seats. There's no extra door. You come in through the passenger door and walk to the back, as you can see.
Okay.
It's about 12 to 15 inches, 12 to 18 inches between the 2 seats. And then you see there's an armrest that you can pull up. So she says they were, look at that gap now, unless they wanted nerve problems in their necks. She said they were leaning into each other, like laying on each other's shoulder over that big ass gap. Excuse my French. Me personally, I couldn't do it. I'm 5'8", 5'11" in shoes. She looks like she's all of about 5'4". He's 6 foot solid, because I've seen him up close and I'm about this much shorter than him.
You saw Diamond Dame Anderson also shirtless with no shoes on.
He's an accurate 6 feet. No taller than 6 feet.
She said, "Let her talk." Is that like a encouraging "let her talk," or was I cutting you off too much? I apologize if it's the latter. Yeah, go on.
So I'm saying that to say he could probably lean over at 6 feet, but her at 5'3", 5'4", that's pretty uncomfortable. But she said that's what happened. So that's what they were doing. She was laying on his shoulder. She saw that he sent somebody the song by D'Angelo. They asked her what song. I don't know. I can't remember, but I know it was D'Angelo because of the album cover. Okay, fine. D'Angelo. But it was the song Lady, apparently. He did send that. And so she says she asked him, "Oh, who are you sending that song to?" And he kind of like brushed it off. But immediately after he sent it, she saw the text come in from, I guess, Cleopatra. That was her that said, "I should be kissing you." It was not him. Because remember, all the accounts were saying, thank you, Andre. I love London. I was just there and I'm going back in June. So, I'm trying to perfect my British accent. But the girl, the mistress, whoever this chick was, is the one that sent that or I should be here. Yeah, exactly. Cleo. I made the joke this morning. Cleo, Megan, Patra, good. Um, but that's when she grabbed the phone. She says she grabbed the phone with two hands, turned her back because she was in the seat. Okay, so if you're in the if you're in the seat as the passenger, she was behind the driver. So she was behind the driver, he was behind the passenger seat. And she grabbed the phone with two hands. This is important.
Okay.
Turned her back to him, facing her door, and was basically strong arming the phone, kung fu grip style. And he was trying to pry it from her hands. Those were her words. He was trying to pry the phone from my hands. He was not successful. So then she goes into trying to claim that he bent her arm back. Da 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 da. She says she hit him. She
She says she. Did you say she says she hit him?
Yes, she did. The phone locked that I got. Let me see if
No,
I.
It's to me to hear like two.
Oh, she
consistent.
Herself heavy. That's why I was just like, what are we actually doing here? She said, let me get to it.
There's two consecutive moments where she did something of an aggressive nature, which one was taking a belonging that belongs to somebody else,
and
the second one
snatched it. So when you snatch something, that can border on assault if you hurt somebody's hand in the process.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he was hurt. I mean, I saw some damning evidence that shows that he didn't make it out of that.
He had a scratch on his arm right above his hand.
Oh, I know.
Right. So that's probably when she snatched his phone.
Well, clearly, yeah. He's the one who didn't come out of this unscathed. He woke up with a pillow that had a red little ketchup stain, but it's not ketchup. And then he's got a ripped coat to show for it.
Right.
And she says, when she is the witness, she's saying, first I took the phone. He was reaching for it. She doesn't say he hit me. She said he was reaching for it. He couldn't get it. He was unsuccessful. And and she's being examined by the prosecutor themselves. It's not like there was a hard question that she had to answer. But she says that. And then I hit Jonathan. That's crazy.
Yes. Okay, here she goes. She says she hit his arms and his shoulders while he sat in his chair, which was the one behind the passenger chair.
Arm and shoulders. Both of them?
I don't know if one or both. Maybe the one closest to her.
Okay, so then there's two blows.
Hit his arms and shoulders. These were her words, so I have them in quotes. She grabbed the phone with both hands and turned to the right. That's what I told you. She grabbed the phone. She said he kept trying to get the phone. When her attorney asked her how long the whole altercation was, she was like, it felt long.
Oh, it felt long. What a prepared answer.
Right, it felt long. She denied scratching him, but admitted to hitting his arm. Then he ordered the car to stop. He ordered the driver to stop the car. So at that point,
he ordered she didn't say, stop the car. I'm under duress extremely. Jonathan is overbearing.
And they kept asking. They said, well, what did the driver say? What did the driver do? She kept saying she didn't remember the driver. She wasn't paying attention to the driver. So I think she's setting the stage to not even be able to ID the driver. Because she kept saying, and I'm like, are you on her side or Jonathan's side? Because the prosecutor was asking her, she kept asking her, well, what about the driver? What did the driver do? What did the driver say? I don't remember the driver. I don't remember if he said anything. I wasn't paying attention to the driver. I'm paraphrasing, but those were at least 3 different answers that she gave about the driver. So when he said, stop the car, that's when they show us the video of the Escalade in the middle of the street. I want to say 1, 2, 3. It was at least 2 lanes in one direction. Because in New York, there's rarely two-way streets in Manhattan. There's either northbound or southbound streets. So it must have been about at least 2 lanes on that street. And the car was in the middle of the street. You see him get out. Remember that 18-inch gap between the 2 seats. So she clearly went from her seat across the gap into his seat. And was, as soon as he opened that car door, you see her in the doorway of the car. Her exact words. Let me give you her exact words.
Thank you
before
for the exact words.
I happen.
And you got a comment here complimenting that your nice braids over there.
Oh, thank you. These things are 6 weeks old, child. They got to come out. But thank you. Hold on.
And
I
all that metadata reads March 25th, which they tried to fight, but they did
right,
not successfully win that one.
right. So this is what she says. He was trying to get me off of him, trying to get me not to follow him. But in the same breath, tries to say that he was pushing her. Well, she didn't say that. That's what the prosecution is trying to say. That he was pushing her in the car, threw her like a football. She never once said that. She said he was trying to get
Because
me
you can
off of.
lie in the opening statements. You can say whatever you want to say.
Say whatever you want, but she completely. I don't know if she was there for the opening statements because they weren't on the same page with that. He was trying to get me off of him, trying to get me not to follow him. So after she said that, or she might have said it after the video, but regardless, the video told everything and it confirmed those exact words. Because when he opened the door and got out, she was right there at the door. You see him turn around. It looked like he lifted her up, not like, you know how she's tiny. So it looked like he just kind of like took her by her forearms just to kind of sit her back in her seat. He didn't push her head down. He didn't shove her.
And
It's
throw her
kind
like
of
a
like,
football.
no, he didn't throw her like a football. It was like he was trying to restrain her. So he like kind of took her shoulders with his two hands and sat her back down in the seat. That was the first time he tried to get her to stay in the car. Then she jumped back up again.
Okay.
Then you see him kind of trying to push her back down into the seat, not shoving her, not pushing her head down. He's kind of like back off, like that kind of thing. She pops back up again. He does it again. She pops back up again, and then he just hauls ass. When I say he was running, I don't know
He
if you
ran.
know anything about
No, but
track.
some people don't know what haul ass means. Like it's slang. He ran. Okay, that's what haul ass means.
He ran full stride, arms like he was running track, the 100-meter dash. Full stride, full speed, running like the Klan was chasing him running.
And this is video footage. This is no way fabrication of like a person's perception. This is literally what happened on that day, on the 25th day of March.
And his full attention was on those videos. Because when she would talk before the videos, he would kind of like either look at his lawyer, look straight ahead, or kind of have his head down. But the minute those videos got played, he was looking at her and he was looking at the video.
Oh, he's looking at her too?
Yeah, he was looking at
Should
her.
He? Isn't that like a bad practice? Because then they're trying to make him seem like he's some sort of controller.
No, she couldn't see that he was looking at her, like, because she was talking to the jury, but you can see that his eyes were fixed in her direction and the direction of the TV. Not that he was staring at her like intimidating, like, no, because like I said, other than when the videos were being played, he wouldn't look at her at all. Okay. But once the videos were being played, he clearly turned his body. And he he was very attentive to the videos.
So can I add something? Since we didn't see a video, and they're probably doing things chronologically, we didn't see a video of a backseat of the Cadillac because the Black Lane service just happens to have the money to pay for that. Since we didn't see the footage of what happened in the backseat, is it safe to say that it doesn't exist? Like we were all wrong?
Backseat. She testified that, okay, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. So when he ran, she can run. She ran after him. She ran after him for about 5 blocks. And when I tell you, I had to keep it together because I'm a fool. I love to laugh. And I'm that person that if you say don't laugh, you don't want me to be around because I will be laughing. I had to literally put my head down and pretend I was writing because when I tell you the way that they compiled those videos, it was comical. It was almost like something out of the Dave Chappelle show. Okay, so he jets off. That's the first frame. The truck is sitting there. He runs because he can't keep her in the car at this point. And I must note too, they did show 3 different perspectives of that same him trying to get her in a car. So it was from a distance, then a little closer, and then even closer up. So we knew for a fact he was not pushing her down, throwing her, none of that, because they kept zooming in at different angles so we could see exactly how he was trying to keep her in the car. When, like I said, when he wasn't successful, he jetted off full speed, full stride. She ran behind him. So then the next,
Run, Jonathan, run.
Yeah, he ran like Forrest Gump. You remember when Forrest Gump, he ran like through 6 different towns until he got to the football field.
He was running.
Yeah, I was running. That's exactly how it looked, the way they compiled the video. So the first
Pam
video
said it's the get out run.
Yeah. And the reason why I started almost like bawling, laughing, was because the next frame shows him running at a different angle down the street. Then the next frame, you see them running through a parking lot. The next frame, you see them running. It's like different scenes of where they ran. And then in between that, the prosecution created like these maps that kind of had little dots following their path on the map. So they were turning corners. It was crazy. I'm like, this is not helping your case. You're making her look insane. So finally, he outran her, obviously, because he's an athlete.
Those Iranian genetics didn't help.
Yeah. His Kenyan ones.
Yeah, that's what it was.
His Kenyan ones outran the Iranian ones. Because you know them Kenyans. They can run a marathon. So he outran her. So by the time she got tired and stopped, was right before she got to the building on Lafayette Street where she ran into those 3 people and started with oh, do you know Jonathan Majors and da 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 da, and he has my purse, and he texted another woman, and then you hear the girl say, oh, it's fair game, girly. So that's where she stopped running, because she said, in her exact words, she said that she lost him, like he got away. So she stopped in front of that building, did that whole spiel with those people, and then you see him walk past eventually, like maybe 4 minutes into the video, you see him walk past. At that point, before he walks past, she testifies, these are her words, that she was scared of him. At that point where she's talking to these people, she testified that she was afraid of him.
So let me play the audio, though. Oh, sorry.
No, she didn't tell them that. She testified in the court today that at the point where she was talking to those people, she was afraid of him. But then he walks past and you approach him and then continue chasing him.
That's the thing, right?
Right.
That's the thing. Let me play that part here. There's a video of her chasing after him.
That's when they go out of frame. Right.
Sorry. Yeah.
But she's afraid of him at this point. Not only does she continue following him, but guess what? They end up back in the Escalade.
I read that. I read that in Priya Chaudhry's retelling of the events.
Right. They end up back in the Escalade. Only this time he's in the back seat. He's not sitting next to her between the 18 on the other side of the 18-inch gap. He's sitting in the back, and she said he's calm. She testified that he's calm because her lawyer kept saying, well, what was his demeanor like? She kept asking that at every turn. And she said he was calm and he was quite quiet. So what happened to this abusive man that you were afraid of? Why did you get back? And they asked, well, why didn't you just go home? Why would you get back in the car with him? And she said it was because she was still fixated on finding out who it was that he was texting. Every time the prosecution asked her, well, did you not feel the injuries? Because because you don't see any injuries in that video you just put up. And if the prosecutor asked her, well, what about the injuries? Did you not feel any of the injuries that you sustained? She kept saying, all I was focused on was finding out who he was texting. And then she toggled in between that and her adrenaline and being in shock. That's how she kept explaining away why it took her until 11 o'clock the next morning to realize she got her ass beat.
Where Jonathan dials 911. Did she at least say that?
No, we didn't get to that part yet because the testimony and the day ended with her walking into the apartment building at like 3 o'clock in the morning. But they did show a video of her at the bar paying for drinks, and they asked her. That's why I'm like, whose side are you on, lady? Because that was a dumb question to ask her. They were like, is that you? What are you doing? She's like, I'm signing the check for the drinks. And she was like, but that's the hand injured.
Ooh.
She was like, is that the hand that was injured? She was like, yeah, but I could still do things. That was Grace's exact words. I could still do things.
Because she had the strength because she's a dancer and she knows how to work through pain and she danced
Yeah,
with a broken rib.
worked through broken ribs. Yeah, she's worked through broken ribs, so she can work through a broken finger. And she admitted to drinking a lot of champagne and tequila shots. And she also said that I guess they were trying to establish whether or not she was drunk and out of her mind when she got home. And while she did not admit that, she did say that I'm a woman, and basically implying that she knew her limits and she did not want to drink anymore because being a woman, that would put her in a position where she could, end up on the wrong side of, drunken chick scenario. So that told me that you were drinking enough that you were like, okay, let me chill because I got to get home.
If I'm Priya Chaudhry, I'm just asking, how many drinks did you consume on March 24th and then on March 25th also? Because, she'll try to make it seem like I only drank twice that day. Yeah, it's a new day at midnight. Yeah.
Yesterday, even the defense said that video that was presented today was truncated. They did not show her dancing. They did not show her in the DJ booth. They did not show how much she was drinking. They just showed her writing the check.
Don't worry, I got that video right here for the viewers.
Oh, and I'm sure the defense is going to have it too. So they'll be able to count how many drinks she had, and I'm sure that they subpoenaed the tab too.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
She seems to be okay. She keeps doing that thing with her hair where she like brushes it back.
But you're bleeding behind the ear, but nobody's seeing the blood. It's not on your hands. It's not on your clothes. But like I said, she kept explaining away by saying, "Oh, the adrenaline kept her from bleeding too." I guess.
It is 1:33 right here when they entered the club. Right, the time.
Right.
And the time outside here. Let me. I want to know exactly how much time it takes from them going and returning in the car, which we know happens. Let me stop talking. Let me just find the video. The fingers of her tying her hair back.
Right, and there's no bruise. And
what's it say at the top? All right, I can't really see it. What time is it? It looks like it says 50, 46, 47, 12:50.
Yeah, probably because she got home around 3 a.m. And you would think with the angle of the girl, I think that was Chloe, the one that was standing like kind of.
It was Chloe.
Her. You would think where she's standing, you could see if somebody was bleeding or cut. And you would say, "Oh, what's that? Are you all right?"
Yeah. So sometime between 12:50 and 1:33, which is a 43-minute span, she goes from that video to going into the club.
Right, because in between that, they were in the Escalade
again.
The second time, and that's when he told her,
"Yeah,
you keep the Escalade. I'm going to a hotel."
This is like an ideal man. And we remember what TMZ, what Variety, what all these publications, the woman who's standing outside every time they walk past and they say, "Jonathan, what about Job? What Bible? Are you in New Testament, Old Testament?" That guy, the slander he's been going through. And then we're here in court and we're learning about how he at all times distanced himself from her, tried to resolve things, and just was a gentleman. The type of person, her dad is in the courtroom, right? The type of person that father wants his daughter to be in the presence of, who takes care of her even when drinks are flowing, and is so nice, and asking her to be a thing like Coretta Scott King, and like giving examples of positive women. Like, this man is just everything you're supposed to be.
Right.
Based off of evidence. Now it's not even opinions anymore. Based off evidence, Danny.
And clearly he was, because she testified in the morning. She gave him rave reviews. And she even said that she felt like he did not want to be that way, meaning angry, whatever she claimed he was. She also testified that the Christmas before this March, so December, a year ago this month, they spent time with her family for the holidays. So her family knew him like family. So I'm positive they knew what a gentleman he was and what, you know what I mean? Because otherwise, I'm sure most Iranians don't want their kids marrying non-Iranians, right?
What's the most common religion in Iran? Is it like
Well,
Muslim Shiite?
I think it. I thought it was Muslim, isn't it?
That's weird that they be celebrating Christmas at. No, he said for the holidays, but that they weren't
Yeah,
celebrating the holiday.
celebrating, but
Right.
he stayed with them. Yeah, and I don't know if she's Christian or not. They could be, because I mean there are Christian Iranians, but
True.
the prevailing religion is Islam, right?
Yeah, but her name is what? Stephanie.
Jabbar.
So no, that's the first name. Her first. I almost said it. Her first name seems something like a Christian would name their daughter that. So maybe
Right,
they're Christian. Yeah.
like Grace, Hope, Charity, that kind of
Mm.
stuff. Who knows? Maybe they were new Christians when she was born, so they were going, they were going all in. But
Thank you,
um,
Fatal J.
she
The DJ booth. Oh, thank you. Yeah, he also telling me that it said 1250 up top on the video over there. Thanks.
yeah, okay,
And you know what? I shouldn't have been playing that video. I should be playing the video towards the ending where he kind of walks by her because I have that video. Let me show you what time it exactly was when he walks past her. Up top, it says 12:54. So between 12:54 and 1:33 is what I should be looking at when I'm saying like the distance between how long it took for her to get back to the club, the time allotted.
right? Because that window was when it
Thank you,
was
Flavio. Flavio, thank you for continuing with the shtick. Stephanie contacted her friend Holly Blakely at 8 a.m., which they didn't get to, did they?
not yet. No,
And
that
said that she caused the injuries to herself. And that's on a text message. So that'll be good to see.
mm-hmm.
What's up, Tony?
And yesterday the defense in their opening said that she was found naked from the waist down. So if you were there by yourself,
I know. It insinuates. So they may
where?
have some elevator camera. Sorry?
I said, where's your drawers if you were there by yourself? So I'm almost wondering if there's some surveillance, or maybe I'm reaching here.
She had company.
I was 30 years old once. I was married then, but I was 20 something years old once. If maybe somebody can't, because why was his bedroom door locked and he couldn't get in?
The closet room was locked.
Whatever the room was that he had to get the person to help him get in.
Yeah. I mean, it's juicy and it's
closets have locks on them. Was it a closet or was it the bed? Because he said the bedroom was upstairs. I guess they were in a penthouse. Yeah, they had a
3
penthouse.
floors.
Yeah, so the bedroom that she was in was upstairs, and I'll double check, but I thought that they said that was the door that was locked, and he had to get somebody to come in and unlock that door.
It's Disney Vasquez just joined us, and Disney says, y'all clearly weren't paying attention to what happened. They proved Majors is a mega liar. So for anyone who's new, because there's 150 people watching the live stream right now, thank you for all being here. Who are you, and what is your relationship to this?
Disney.
But Danny, like, what, you were there at the trial, weren't you?
Oh no, I thought you were talking to her. Oh, me, I am. Yeah, I'm there as a spectator for the trial / legal analyst, which I've been doing for the last decade. At one point when I lived in Atlanta, I used to do when HLN After Dark was on the air. I used to do that show, and I used to do Kyra Phillips' show. Yeah, I'm here as a legal professional and spectator and fan of Jonathan Majors.
That last part, and she's a fan of Jonathan Majors, but
and,
like
as sexual chocolate. No, I'm just playing. Joking, but yeah.
Don't pay attention. They're looking for attention. You're right, Tommy. But it was worth bringing up though, because some people may have just joined us and not know what you're talking about. So
right. Yeah, don't give the trolls any attention.
We were at some really important stuff. So our door was locked, but we still didn't get to that point yet. And you were just speculating on whether or not she had company over, which is why her pants were off. And we don't know that.
Totally pulling at straws here, but I'm trying to figure out how she ended up in the condition she ended up in. Where did she get all those blue pills? Was somebody popping Molly? What blue pills? What are they? Viagra for girls? Like, what was the blue? Because they mentioned blue pills. What blue pills? Aleve? Aleve is the only pill that I know that's blue.
So I know Outcast we're talking about Blue and no, Eminem was the one who said that. Blue and yellow, purple pills. I don't know. Sorry,
So
bad
what?
joke.
But that I'm trying to figure out what that is because the defense mentioned that in opening arguments, but they didn't identify what these blue pills were. So if it turns out they're ecstasy or Molly or some craziness, then this turns the case in a whole different direction.
Matt Rea says Valium. So I don't know if you're joking or not. Do you know that Valium is a blue pill? Let me Google it. I got a computer in
I've
front of me.
had Valium for surgery, and I think they were white, unless it's some off-brand. I don't know, but I've memory serves Valium or white, unless there's some other brand, because they have. Is that Valium? That's
There's
Valium.
fake Valium cheaper than
Okay.
chips.
Oh, that's blue. I don't know
Oh,
what.
this is getting messy. Sleeping pills, maybe. Oh yeah, they were sleeping pills. They were just sleeping pills. I
Uh,
remember reading sleeping pills.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, like Tylenol PM, those are blue.
Mm,
Like painkiller PMs, those do they are. Some of them are blue, so that's possible.
okay.
But yeah, I'm curious to know what those were, and why she didn't have on any underwear when they found her.
The pill
Yeah,
depends on the manufacturer.
I was asking if it was a brand versus a generic, because yeah, I don't know.
Stop it.
Lord, I hope nobody needed Viagra in that house.
Going
Uh,
through your notes, is there anything you want to bring up you haven't?
let me just double check because I feel like. Oh yes, hold on, give me a second. When she left the club, they asked her. Hold on, give me a second.
All good. I'm gonna bring up Priya Chaudhry's retelling of the events because we can cross reference that with you.
Yes, exactly.
She wrote this ages ago though. She wrote this what? I think it says where's the date? Yeah, on April the 19th. She wrote this as she retells the story. And then you can tell me if it went exactly like Priya Chaudhry claims that it went, or Priya
Okay.
Chaudhry / Jonathan Majors claims. So you get to your notes, yeah?
Okay. Yeah. The pressure. All right. um. So she said she didn't want to stay out all night. Um. She was in a stronger place to go home alone. She felt. Um. She said that she felt. What's the? Let me give you the exact phrase.
Okay.
She felt more in control of her emotions. She said that she felt like she could be without him. By the end of that night, all that brouhaha melee, within 3 hours, she came to the conclusion that she could be okay without him. She felt empowered by all that tequila and champagne. And so she went home. And then that's when, because they literally,
She went to his home and she said I could be without him and I'm not under his control anymore because remember control is what they're trying to prove he has over her, right?
right. She felt strong but yet you go home, pop a bunch of pills, throw up on his bed, and laying in the closet with no panties on.
And he sends you a breakup text, by the way, which is why you left the club at 3 a.m. and went back to to your guys' place.
Yep. He sent the breakup text saying, he said, I love you.
Mm.
He did not cheat, but this isn't working.
He said that in the text?
Yes, that was the text. She said she didn't check any text messages
Yeah.
while she was at the club.
Not dancing.
When she came out, and I should also note, I don't know why she doesn't have a data plan, but apparently she has 2 cell phones. And you see in the video where she's holding 2 cell phones outside, and she's using one cell phone as a hotspot and the other one as her actual phone. She says she was trying to call an Uber. The hotspot wasn't working, so she ended up taking a yellow cab. And she did not check any messages until she got in the taxi. And that's when she saw the text that he sent saying he loved her. He didn't cheat, but this isn't working.
Yeah, it looked like she was checking something while she was on her phone all that time.
Yeah. I don't know what. She claimed it was she was trying to get the hotspot to work. And I turned to the reporter that was sitting next to me. I'm like, she doesn't have a data plan, but she has his credit card, living in a penthouse, and she can't get T-Mobile to give her some bars so she can order an
I don't
Uber
know.
out 2 phones. Yeah, so that was a little weird. I couldn't figure that out. And I was thinking, well, maybe she has an international SIM card, but I'm like, you're in the United States. One of those phones have to be a United States phone.
I don't get it at all, but it's
Yeah,
all good.
but they did build the foundation for how she got his card, because remember they're trying to say she stole his credit card. So early on in the testimony, they did ask her, well, how did you get Jonathan's credit card? She said that when she came to New York in March, she came to stay with him. She could not work because she did not have a work visa, and so she just spent her days going to dance classes. And he, knowing that she was not working, gave her, she was using her own card at first, but knowing that she wasn't working and couldn't work because she didn't have a work visa, he gave her his credit card and told her to just use it for everyday expenses. So she testified that she used it for groceries, Ubers, anything that she needed. So that's building the foundation for, well, how'd you get the card? Why were you using the card?
I'm pretty sure that's all true. It's just like
Right.
the way you used it on that night, even though you were over him and you no longer needed him and you were in control, but you were still benefiting the relationship of him, and
Right.
it's malarkey.
Mhm.
Terrence, he says, Chillmonger, as we speak, I'm messing with the timeline to save Jonathan Majors. You get that joke, right? The Kang joke.
He said, I'm going to make him president. Yes, mess with the timeline, please.
Let's get on to the Priya Chaudhry letter that she wrote. I'm going to read, skip, because it's 7 pages, and I think I'm just going to go to the part where she starts talking about what happened. He says, Mr. Majors took a taxi directly to a hotel on the Upper East Side and did not see Stephanie again until 11:13 a.m. I skipped a really important page. Here is what really happened. Let's just start there. Look, I said, everybody watching, I usually only go maybe an hour for my live streams just to keep things concise. This is going to go way longer than that. And I don't know if I'm apologizing, but I just like to keep things in a more brief, you get in, you get out, everyone's entertained, but we're going to go longer. How much more time do you have, Danny?
Oh, I'm fine. Look, I'm still dressed.
The context. You were in your pajamas yesterday on Pam and you couldn't get on camera. So that's why today she's telling me that she's dressed.
I'm still dressed. I'm not in my pajamas and my do-rag and my eye mask because I sleep with a sleep mask. It's a whole experience when I go to sleep. So
Pam, by the way, says that there's now no controlling man would give his card. No, he would, because he would want to see the credit cards, like the the interactions. What did you buy and all that.
hmm
Is this better? I hope it's better.
Well, it's you have to read it.
Yeah, I don't have a layout ready for something like this. I could fix it, and I will. So just be patient, everybody, as I make it so that.
I'm sorry, I'm at a friend's house, so I'm trying to multitask here and not put her whole apartment on blast.
Yeah.
Because this is not my house, so I don't want to, I don't want to have any of her personal stuff being seen. So I'm trying to sit still.
Did it change?
It looks like it's a little bigger.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay, so yeah, it is what it is. Here's what really happened. As witnessed by the driver who saw and heard everything just before 1 a.m. Ms. Jabari assaulted Mr. May. I said her real name, and I can't even edit it out like I do in my videos. Stephanie McMahon assaulted Mr. Majors in a car while she was attempting to steal his phone. All right. The driver will testify that Majors never struck her in any way at any time. Reminder that the charges he's up for are reckless assault, intentional assault. There's aggravated harassment, and then there's harassment. And he didn't strike her, as the driver says. And even in her little when she testified, she never said he struck her, right?
She said let me give you the words. Go ahead, keep talking.
It was an open hand that
didn't even
strike.
say open hand. She said, hold on, go ahead, keep talking. I'll find it because my notes are horrific. I hate that I can't switch screens without you losing me.
Okay.
I gotta find her exact words.
In any way at any time, or even raised his voice. And instead, while Stephanie was hitting, scratching, and attacking Mr. Majors, which, side note, everybody, we have some proof of him being hit, scratched, and attacked. It's called his face bleeding, the scratch that's on his arms that he took these photos around 2 in the morning. He took those 2 in the morning, the blood on the pillow that he woke up to, and then also the ripped coat that's there. You can see that the breast pocket was tugged off, and even the buttons were missing on that too.
Yeah, she admitted pulling the shirt and the button flying off.
I feel like they think, oh, we'll get on top of it. We'll say it first. It'll make us look better. No, you idiot. You should have lied and made us question whether or not it actually happened or not. But
right. So that's what like she was telling on herself. So I'm just like, girl, bye. I don't know what to tell you. She said, in terms of what he did to her, the only thing she said that was consistent is when she had the phone with both hands and turned her back toward him and was facing her door, that when he couldn't get it out of her hands the normal way, she claims he bent her arm behind her back.
When he couldn't get it normally, that's when he had to get a little bit more aggressive in his retrieval of the phone, which still isn't striking.
Right. That was not striking. Right. And then
is that a crime?
And right after she said that, the prosecutor was like, well, did you feel any pain? Every time the prosecutor asked her, did you feel any pain? Her immediate response was either, no, the adrenaline was pumping, or I was in shock.
I remember reading often that it caused substantial pain all the time. Every time she, no.
She kept saying.
No, by the way, let me pause. I remember reading like before this trial that she was she was claiming that he caused substantial pain, and you can watch all my videos where she keeps bringing up the substantial pain part.
Right, and that's not what she said today. Every time they asked her, it was either or a combination of all three: adrenaline, shock, or all I was concerned about was who this girl was he was texting. She said that several times. All I was concerned about was who this girl was he was texting. I wanted to know who this girl was. And even the second time they got in the Escalade and he was in the back seat, she said she was still trying to get him to tell her who it was that he was texting. And she claimed she was so fixated on it because earlier in the day, they had picked out rings, picked out names for their future kids. I'm like, all that just on that one day.
And Jonathan felt suicidal earlier that day too. That was relevant. Remember she said that?
Right. And she said she said during that day we were going to get married and we were talking about getting married and the names of our children. I'm like, what? And then she kept saying, but the defense objected. She says she had a headache because the prosecutor was trying to get her to say he hit her in the head. Because remember that? Where supposedly she got hit here or wherever she was bleeding. And she almost ignored the question because the prosecutor asked her, well, I'm paraphrasing, but like, what about your head? She kind of glossed over. She was like, I had a headache, but it's nothing I couldn't handle.
She trying to make her sound like a strong survivor type thing? Is that the angle they're taking?
I have no idea. I don't know if she tried to slip in because when she said that, the defense objected. So I don't know if she was trying to make it sound like she got clocked over the head on a regular basis or if she was a migraine sufferer. I have no idea what it was nothing I couldn't handle meant when they asked her about her head and her head being hurt or hurting her head.
Yeah.
Oh, and then she also claimed she did not fight back when Jonathan tried to keep her in the car. And the video clearly shows him having to push her back 3 different times because she kept popping back up like a jack in a box. And then, like I said, he eventually gave up and just jetted off. So,
she did not try to fight back. Is very open to interpretation because what's fighting? Does she mean like she never kicked when she could have kicked? She thought about it, but she didn't.
Fighting back to me is resisting.
Yeah.
So because she resisted him trying to keep her in the car, that's fighting back to me. And that's what the video looked like. Not fighting back would be sitting your ass in your original seat and going home with that car driver, with the driver. You know what I mean? But that's just me. I'd have been like, okay, we doing this now. I'm going back home. I'm calling the police, and you better not come back home tonight.
We got the
If that was what I was on.
Gray Wins comment of the night. Who's taking my kangalang? The courts don't know about narcissistic abuse, especially from a female narcissist. I'm waiting on Jonathan to be like, I am Kang. You talk to ants. I guess we can laugh because this is ridiculous at this point. Like the amount of stuff that she's admitting to, how she initiated it, and then there's the video also that they can see that he's bringing her back down, bringing her lower. Now, if this guy's a despisable, evil guy, he wouldn't be running away from her. And she chases him.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
She strikes me as like the handsy type. You know, you don't get your way, so you start flying off the handle and swinging, and you know what I mean. And I don't know. I really do. It seems as though there is no interior camera footage of the truck.
That's fine.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow. But there was plenty of outside footage, and it was enough to show that he did not throw her like a football. He did not body slam her. He did not push her head down into the car.
He was forgiving enough to allow her back inside the Cadillac. Hey, take this woman home.
Right. Told her to take the car. I'm going to a hotel.
According to her, she says that. That's what he said. She's supposed to be lying, making him look evil. She says, yo, here's the Cadillac. Get in here and go to. Now, you know what happened? She probably said, hey, Chloe, guy with the white hat, come here. We're going off to Lucy's nightclub. Ride on me because, I'm sorry I made you miss your guys' Uber.
Right. I cannot for the life of me remember if they said they took the Escalade or not, because she still ended up. I have to double check that, so don't quote me on it, because she still ended up having to take a taxi home. But she did say that when they were running around for 5 minutes and she was chasing him, that the Escalade had to find them. And that when it found them, because they ran and left the Escalade in the middle of the street.
So he was still the Escalade driver. That chauffeur had some sort of like loyalty to the job.
A hired car for the day. So
Say that again.
He was a hired car for the day. So he took them everywhere from the time that they left to go to Brooklyn to the play, to the dinner. And when the situation popped off, they were on their way back home.
Thank you for that, because I never heard that before.
Yeah. So she testified because I guess when they were talking about her having a credit card, her attorney, the prosecution asked her who ordered the car that night. She was like, well, I think Jonathan did, but normally his manager does.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So apparently the manager is the one, and the manager's name is Priya, by the way.
Oh, his friend Priya wasn't Priya Chaudhry.
It was not Priya Chaudhry, a different Priya. I couldn't get the last name. It's S. It starts with an S, but I couldn't spell it, so I just put Priya S. Okay. But she is I don't know, his manager and confidant.
Okay.
And turns out that Grace was confiding in her too, because she claimed she didn't like the way he spoke to her either. So she felt like, well, he talks to you like crap, allegedly. Then we can, and she clearly said we went behind his back and were trading notes basically about how he treated each of us. And he called Priya that night when he ran from the car. And the second time they came back to the car, she said she heard him on the phone with her and that he was talking really loudly. So I'm guessing he must have told her what happened. So I'm curious to know if they're going to call her as a witness tomorrow.
Yeah, the rebuttal witness. Yeah, she's officially eligible for that now. And she can say, actually, the second time he was in the car, this is how it went on the phone with me. So what that also proves is that he isn't attacking you, at least with one hand. One hand is always on the phone as he's having a conversation with Priya. So that's helpful.
Yeah, he was on the phone, and she asked him to get back in the car because he was talking too loud. He was talking because he was yelling into the phone.
Yeah.
To Priya, I guess, telling her what was going on. And
that's harassment. Right. when he's talking on the phone about Stephanie, she's gonna feel harassed. And they got him on that.
And so she convinced him to get back in the car, and that's how he ended up in the back seat. And then eventually got out again. She said he ran again. He ran again, and then that was the last she saw of him until that following morning when all hell broke loose. But
thank you for Anzo for doing this. Yes, there's 194 and there's only 64 likes. Come on, guys, hit the like button. That's how you boost it. If you like what's happening right here, which is Jonathan Majors' innocence being broadcasted, then amplify it. Not just on my channel because I'm selfish and I want subscribers, but also for every channel that you see doing this and every message that you think is positive happening on the internet. That's the way you do it.
right.
See, they're just so enthralled that they were like not hitting like, and that's why
Right.
there's only 64.
Right.
I said I was gonna. Oh,
Go ahead.
every time I talk, you get cut off, and I hate doing that.
No, go ahead. I stopped myself because I saw you pulled up the I can't see it, but the document.
I'll keep reading it from where I left off about the driver will testify Majors never struck her in any way, even raised his voice, or instead, Stephanie was hitting, scratching, attacking Majors. Mr. Majors begged the driver to open the door so that he could jump out of the car and escape her. By the way, Danny mentioned earlier that they were on like the second lane, not the lane closest to the sidewalk, but the more farther away one, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like I cannot. It was definitely not near a curb. So I don't know if it was a middle lane. It was definitely in the middle of the street. It was not parked. It was not pulled over.
So it was so urgent that he needed that driver to stop the car. Where I don't care if we're not next to it.
And there were other cars. It wasn't traffic because it was late at night, but there were other cars around. Okay. And he stopped right wherever they were, and he jumped out. And I'm curious to know how would they find those witnesses though? The cars that were actually sitting there at the time that he was trying to keep her in the car.
The driver will testify that he unlocked the door to help Majors escape. What?
He was like, "Let me hook you up, brother."
Stephanie then attacked Majors on the street as he tried to run away from her. So, what did she attack him on the street, or when she was getting out of the car? That's going to be the attack,
I guess, because she definitely did not stand in the street swinging on him.
In doing so, and in trying to
round, he ran, and then she ran after him. Yeah. There was no feet hit the ground, fighting, and then ran. No, as soon as her feet hit the ground, he ran, and then she ran right behind him for at least 4 blocks.
But in doing so, and in trying to prevent him from escaping, she ripped his coat buttons and tore his coat pocket, but he got away. Mm-hmm. A few minutes later, as Mr. Majors was lying, by the way, this is Priya Chaudhry's letter from April, okay? As to find the car so that he could escape Stephanie and go to a hotel. Stephanie saw Mr. Majors again and begged him to get in the car. Mm-hmm. They got back in the car.
Phone with the other Priya.
Yeah, to get on the phone with the other Priya. And before the car door even closed, she immediately resumed her physical assault to steal Jonathan Majors' phone. But he's on the phone with... Sorry?
And she said that. She didn't say assault. She said she was still trying to get him to show her the text.
But she never said, I resumed my physical assault. She didn't say that.
Match the phone. She just said she was still trying to get him to show her the text.
This time, she did this in front of the driver and 3 people standing on the street, which would be, of course, the dude with the white hat and Chloe and the other guy.
Yeah, because they followed her to the Escalade.
Once more, Jonathan Majors jumped out of the car and literally ran away to protect himself. Mm-hmm. Majors took a taxi directly to a hotel on the Upper East Side and did not see Stephanie again until 11:13 a.m. when he called a handyman to unlock his bedroom door and found her unconscious on the floor of a closet.
Right, so it was the bedroom door.
Bedroom door. She was in the closet, but the bedroom door was the one that was locked.
Right, the bedroom door was the one that was locked. So he had, So that's why I'm like, why did you lock it? Well, maybe because she was scared, even though she said that she wasn't scared anymore and she was empowered and she was totally okay with not being with him anymore. She locks the bedroom door, pops pills, takes off her drawers, and passes out. Barfs on his bed and passes out in the closet.
Now, see, she was cheating. She was cheating. That's much better. You know, that's why she had to admit that she broke up with Jonathan mentally, because when the dirt comes out that she was actually cheating, and that's why the door was locked, and there was another guy inside there, which we don't know if she was alone, and we don't know if there was another guy in there.
Be one hell of a plot twist.
That make her look bad in front of a jury.
But it wasn't somebody that came through the lobby. It might have been a neighbor or somebody already in the building.
Might have been the handyman himself.
Might have been the handyman, exactly. That's why he was so readily available to unlock that door the next day, because he was already up there.
So is Cleopatra Megan good? She should be. Yeah, I don't know. I'm saying yes.
I'm almost hoping not.
Really?
I'm hoping not, mainly because, you know, there's the narrative. Oh, you were the side piece. You're the, you know what I mean? I don't want her to be the side piece. I want her to be somebody that organically became involved with him. What was it? 6 weeks after everything popped up. I feel like they knew each other before all of this.
Yeah.
You know, like as friends or acquaintances or whatever, because he, you know, she's from California. He's always in California. Obviously, they share a lot of the same spaces. I feel like they might have already known each other, and then it just kind of was like, oh, I'm praying. I'm creating a whole story now, but you know, I'm praying for you. How you doing? And then it kind of like, I would prefer it being that kind of situation than to think, because you know, nobody wants. I mean, especially not her, because she's spiritual, she's Christian, she's, you know, nobody wants to be seen as a mistress or a side chick, you know. So I'm hoping that Cleopatra was some stripper that he met in Atlanta. I don't know.
Why Janelle Monáe?
You know, because all these strippers have names like that in 2023. You know, I don't know. I'm just hoping it was just somebody, some, you know, quickie type chick, you know, drive-by chick that, you know, once this happened, he was like, nah, I'm good. And then he just chilled until him and Megan popped off. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody.
It says Mr. Majors took a text. I just read that. When after he left her, I saw here. When he called a handyman to unlock his bedroom door and found her unconscious on the floor of a closet. A witness on the phone with Mr. Majors, Priya.
Probably Priya.
Priya S. A witness, when he found his door locked, called the handyman and discovered Stephanie's unconscious body. Mr. Majors had no idea where Stephanie went after he left her at 1 a.m. Yeah, at the time he didn't. We all know now.
Right.
What she did afterward or why she was unconscious on a closet floor behind a locked door. However, through an intensive investigation, including detailed review of hours of, and then you got the photographs again, hours of subpoenaed security camera video footage, we have discovered where Stephanie went after the attack and what she did. Directly after attacking, slapping, cutting, scratching oh, that was a bar. Directly after attacking, slapping, cutting, scratching Mr. Majors, and after ripping his clothes while he tried to escape her, Stephanie went clubbing. Can you write clubbing? Is that actually a word? Clubbing?
Well, in the United States it is, yeah. I'm going clubbing. What you doing Saturday? I'm going clubbing.
It doesn't feel formal.
Especially in New York. So I don't know if that's what that's what we used to say. I mean, I don't know what the new slang is, but clubbing. We going clubbing, yeah.
And entered Lucy's night.
To multiple like club hopping, but in her case she didn't. It was just that one club.
Okay. Entered Lucy's nightclub at the Moxie Hotel at 1:30 a.m. Just this fact alone shows that Stephanie felt legally and morally entitled to physically assault Jonathan Majors in front of witnesses. And when they say in front of witnesses, it doesn't mean that it's a witness that they have to testify. It just means that there were 3 people there.
Who that were there, right? But I think that Chloe will testify.
For who?
For probably the prosecution, because Chloe is her new friend. Because she referred to her several times during her testimony like they're friends now. I guess it's the girl, one of them girls that was at the apartment that she went to the club with. Chloe this, Chloe that, Chloe said this, Chloe did that. And then they passed around 2 different pictures of her, Chloe, and this guy. I don't know if it was one of the original guys or another guy, trying to show her hand and how it was discolored. I couldn't see it. I could see from a distance that it was 3 people in the picture.
Yeah.
But they passed it around to the jury. They passed it to the defense. But that was trying to prove that her finger was messed up, even in that picture.
Exactly.
I couldn't see it.
Hey, you know what I do see though? The guy who we can't see.
My money stacked fat, plus I can't turn the swell off. The franchise doing big business.
Thank you for that. $9.99 American dollars. Peace and blessings. I appreciate it so much. The Dre Max Show is a YouTube channel. He's also covering this because he does the same sort of stuff I do. If you don't know who I am, I'm Chillmonger. I usually cover stuff in the film superhero realm. That's my thing. It just so happens that the guy who plays Kang the Conqueror, it was supposed to be a major villain,
right?
Is being railroaded. And so me and Dre usually combine and do collaboration streams and stuff about the fun entertainment. We're not talking about entertaining, are we? It is entertaining, but
it's entertaining because when I tell you, I almost lost it. I was like, oh man, don't start laughing. Please don't start laughing. Please don't start. I had to literally beg myself not to start laughing when they played those running videos. Because it was just comical. I'm like, you guys are supposed to be saving yourselves, and you guys are giving us material. Like, it was a combination of the ridiculousness of it and how funny it looked when the way that it just kept going frame to frame. The parking lot is what set me off. I think when I saw them running past the parking lot, I almost lost it. I almost lost it because, like I said, it looked like a bad Dave Chappelle skit.
I'm waiting for the Boondocks episode covering this.
That would have been a perfect Boondocks episode. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
It says directly after slapping, cutting. No, we're here right now. So she bought $800 bottle of champagne, deliberately charged it to Mr. Major's credit card. The video of Stephanie at the bar clearly shows her mood. Light, laughing, partying, jovial, while she uses her allegedly injured right hand to go through a stack of credit cards. But Danny, she can still use her right hand, right?
Yeah, she said I could still do things. That was her exact quote.
To find his credit card so that she can charge the victim of her assault for her expensive celebratory bottle of champagne. Exactly. And we know she is celebrating by watching her in the video. She's dancing, laughing, clinking glasses with her new friends from the street. Chloe.
Well, supposedly they had went to a birthday party at that. I don't know. So I don't know if she bought the champagne for the birthday person. I have no idea. But like either way, she was having a grand old time.
At this point in the video, Stephanie uses her right hand and the finger allegedly broken by Mr. Majors to casually push her hair behind the right ear. Yep, we all know about that. Yep. She's doing her phone. She's doing everything with her phone, with her fingers. Clearly, Stephanie is uninjured, unlike Majors, who was at the same time hiding in the hotel to protect himself from her and photographing his injuries. And for those of you who just joined us, the photograph that we're talking about are right up here. He got scratched, and the metadata of this photo shows you that he took this photo at around 2:00. He got scratched. He woke up to a bloody pillow. These are not. It's not hearsay. It's not at all. Oh, I would continue, but something else happened. I got paid.
Everybody's got a price.
You know who that is?
I don't follow wrestling, and I didn't look at it close enough.
The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Ah, yes, Ted DiBiase. That's my generation. What do you know about him?
He would like insult kids and just. I heard that. So back in the day, wrestling needed to be real. I'll be really short, everyone. But wrestling needed to be believed. So he would go to the corner store, and be like, "You got change for 100?" And he would like pay off whatever he's buying for like $4 because he wanted to make it look like he really was $1 million man, so that the people could talk about how, oh, you know who was here? He was here, and then he paid that way. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember all those characters. We had all of them. We had the rubber wrestling men, the mat, the ring, everything.
Khalil says, "What was their vibe of the courtroom today?"
Okay, so before we recessed for lunch, it was very, like I told Chillmonger, I don't want to give any life to what she was saying, because none of it is evidence. None of it can be seen as evidence. It's just background knowledge, according to what the judge instructed the jury. It was very somber. A lot of crying. Um, I noticed that the reporters kept looking over at his family, I guess trying to gauge reaction. Um, his mom was laser focused on her.
Mm.
I don't know if, because she's a mental health person. So I don't know if that was her occupation making her more observant. Because you watch people, you're a people watcher, right?
She could also be just being a mom.
Being a mom and probably analyzing the demeanor. Because when you deal with mental health, you can usually spot a fake a mile away, right? Somebody comes in your practice, turning on the waterworks, and you're like,
Of course. And you
right?
said that the media kept looking at the mom. How many members of media?
Oh, a lot. It got to the point today where they had to hand out yellow tickets so that just in case they got back from lunch right as they were letting everybody back in, they were guaranteed their seat.
Oh.
Because yesterday they had to turn a lot of people away because a lot of them wouldn't show up until after lunch. So, there's a really small courtroom. But I would say all the media were on Grace's side of the room, with the exception of maybe 4 that were on Jonathan's side and refused to go on. So I don't know if that was for a reason, but there were like maybe 4 or 5 that stayed on Jonathan's side. Everybody else was on the side of the room where the prosecution and her family were on.
Were most of the media white?
Yes. I want to say.
What do you mean? I don't know. What do you think that is?
Now that you mentioned it, the black one stayed on Jonathan's side because I befriended 2 of them and got their phone numbers, and we exchanged Twitters and everything. Yeah, so that might, now that you mention it, there's something to that, and I will make sure I pay attention more to that tomorrow. But yes, I'm guesstimating now, probably about 50 different media people, 46 were white or non-black.
Yeah.
And then the ones that were black or black presenting, because I don't really know what they were on Jonathan Major's side of the room, because the court officers kept saying, you can, there's seats over here, there's seats, and they were like, no, we want to stay on this side. And I saw that happen 2 days in a row. And I figured it was because they were comfortable and it was a better view of him. But now that you mention it, that might be why. Because even in making small talk, I could tell they were on his side.
What? You could tell from the small talk, the members of media, they were biased?
The ones that I sat with. Not biased.
But you could tell.
You're a human being before anything else, right? Okay. You have to be fair and unbiased in your reporting. But that doesn't mean, that's like saying I'm a Democrat, but I have to report as if I don't have a party affiliation. But obviously I do. Okay. Right? I'm not a Democrat, but I'm just saying I'm independent. But what I'm saying is, just because you're siding with one side doesn't mean that you can't still be a fair reporter, because you have to be. That's your job.
Okay, so Dre, who has lots of experience sitting in many court rooms as a correctional officer, he says normally the media would be on the side of the victim and not behind the alleged attacker. So me reading into it is for nothing. They just would regularly be behind the quote, the victim.
Mm-hmm. And that's where all of them were, with the exception of a handful. And like I said, that handful, there was one that was with another one that was not white, but you can clearly see, because we were sitting together, and so like I would look at her and she looked disgusted. So I was like, okay. I mean, I'm cool. I don't judge it either way. And like I said, yeah, you have to report fair and unbiased, but we all know that does not happen. Look at Rolling Stone. Look at Variety. They're clearly anti-Jonathan Majors. So
let's call them up for their names. Variety's article writer is Rebecca Rubin and Tatiana Siegel. And on Rolling Stone, her name is Cheyenne Roundtree. And go to her Instagram and see her interest in men she dates.
Oh, okay.
Feeling absolutely no remorse or regard for her violent, illegal attack, Stephanie danced off into the crowd holding off a glass of champagne, only to return to the bar 15 minutes later for a refill. Having finished her first glass of the champagne, she charged to Jonathan Majors. But even more telling, Not only does Stephanie get a second glass of champagne, laughing, dancing, and smiling all the while, Stephanie is also seen at the bar doing shots, shot, 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 shot. Everybody.
That's the
Suck.
that. But she claims she didn't have that many drinks. So I'm guessing they're going to release that video showing all of that they're saying there.
Doug, if Priya Chaudhry wrote it, then yes, you were sucking on a lime wedge, laughing and joking. She toasts her new friends as they drain their shots simultaneously, laughing and enjoying themselves. With her right hand, she takes the refill, tucks her hair behind the right ear,
With
points with
no bruise, right?
yeah, index finger, tucking in her remaining fingers, grabs and holds her friend's arm, moves the lime aside, and takes a shot of, presumably, tequila. Clinks shot glasses as she toasts her new friends, moving the lime again. Okay, look, she drank it. We got it. All without any visible signs of discomfort or any swelling or bruising whatsoever. Again, Stephanie's completely untroubled by what she's done, and she's having a great time. The bartender verifies this. The bartender, is he so do you know who's the list of the witnesses and who's going to be like up there testifying?
No.
We don't know that. So I hope he shows up. Her finger is not broken and her ear is not lacerated. What did Stephanie do next? She danced her way to the DJ booth.
She's just dancing her way everywhere.
Danced wildly, even hanging out of the DJ booth with her right hand drank her champagne, smoked a vape, clearly having a great time. And clearly is that Miss Stephanie is not hurt or injured in any way. Shortly after 3 a.m., as the video shows, Stephanie hanging out at the hostess stand and checking her phones casually. Perhaps. You okay?
No, I'm fine. I'm trying to fix my phone. Don't worry about me.
I'm gonna mute you then. Is it fixed? Is it?
Oh, it's making a lot of noise. Yeah, I'll mute.
Okay. Thanks. So let's keep reading this thing. It says Stephanie saw Mr. Major's breakup text. So this is like 3 a.m. 3 a.m. Roughly after she's perhaps a little bit drunk. She sees the breakup text. Not only was she shocked, but she was angry. Okay. We asked the court to consider the implications of this. After assaulting, attacking, injuring, and chasing Majors in front of witnesses and camera, Stephanie was angry and surprised that he ended their relationship. Well, what Danny just told us was she wasn't surprised about the relationship ending. She was happy. She was past it. It was that night. Those 3 hours were just enough for her to be off of the Jonathan Majors relationship bandwagon. It says, then Stephanie jumped in a taxi, which she charged to Major's credit card, and immediately went to his home, all the while frantically calling Majors and sending him angry, jealous text messages. Okay, so all the angry messages, we got like 32 messages, I think they said. Yeah, so
right.
32. This all happened while she's in the taxi getting to his place.
Mm-hmm. So I guess that's going to be revealed tomorrow because she only mentioned, because the prosecutor, like I said, was specific in asking her, did you get any text messages from him while you were at the club? And she said, I did not look at my phone until I got in the taxi. So I don't know if she's trying to make it like she didn't send those text messages, but it's obvious that she did because the defense showed it to the digital analyst guy yesterday.
Right on.
Because he was testifying about what metadata is and what geo
location
was. Because I guess they're trying to establish, like you said, when he took those pictures of his face and his arm and making sure that their stuff is matching up with what actually happened.
At 3:23 a.m., she arrived at his apartment clearly uninjured, as seen in the elevator videos. I saw a screenshot of that. And proceeded to enter his apartment. Call him 32 times. Oh, 32 calls. Okay. Send him more angry, jealous text messages begging him to call her. And then threaten suicide, which she spent the whole morning trying to tell you guys that Jonathan attempted to suicide himself. She's the one. Threatened suicide when Mr. Majors did not respond to her. Importantly, in her texts, Steph accuses Mr. Majors of infidelity and begs him to call her. Which they want to paint to you guys, the picture is they're painting is that she's only doing this as a way of being angry of the infidelity, or she's getting it back at him. Never once in a single text message does she accuse Majors of physically injuring her or striking her. Can we repeat that? That's really important. That's worth it just makes sense. We saw video of her on the street. Not once does she mention the assault that happens. The only reason the assault came up was because later on in the morning when you're a little attempted suicidal. Yeah, that's rude. That's a bit much.
Just a little suicidal, just a little dash.
So the only reason that we were here is because cops who showed up, they were like, "Oh, a woman with a little ear thing and a finger. You're not okay. Was it him?" And we know that the cops is the one who orchestrated this entire arrest.
Mm-hmm.
And then comes, "Oh yeah, he assaulted me." If he wasn't arrested, like we wouldn't be here today. Even
Right.
if, like, let's just say she was like, "You know what? I can make up a pretty good story. I've broken up with Jonathan, and I'm gonna go to the police precincts. And hey, he attacked me." I
Mm,
don't think that it would never have resulted in him being arrested. You know what I mean?
right.
It's the cops. It's all thanks to the police, the NYPD.
Oh, they're horrible. They're very corrupt.
So now you're a witness for the NYPD as a resident, as a like a New York experienced person.
Oh
You can
yeah,
confirm racism from the police
oh,
department.
absolutely. Ironically or coincidentally, I don't know enough. I actually grew up with 3 of the Central Park 5. Uh, I'm dating myself. I hope I don't look as old as that sounded, but that's a well-known case of police corruption. So, and it's only getting more sophisticated. They're not as sloppy as they were in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, but
There was a moment in here. It was called When They See Us, wasn't it?
yes, that's the Netflix version, but there were a couple of other documentaries with the real people in it prior to that.
So I remember the moment inside the courtroom where, man, what was his name? It's the guy who his dad, he never got like, what's his name? I don't even remember the actor with the scar on
Uh
his face, and he was playing. He was
yeah,
the
Mike,
gay guy.
Michael K. Williams played the father.
There was a scene in Michael K. Williams was taking the stand, and the prosecutor said to him, "So you were angry, weren't you?" You remember that scene?
Mm-hmm.
There was a moment in here where I was reading which reminded me of that moment. Now it's gonna take a long time for me to put up the Netflix, find that scene, and show you guys all, but I probably will bring it up by the next time I do a video because it reminds me that there's gonna be this bias inside this jury of what an angry black man is and
Yeah.
how easily believable it may be, especially to two of those members of jury. It may be believed easilier.
Now I'm going to tell you what. In as much character assassination that early morning testimony attempted to make, she gave Jonathan rave reviews for the majority of the time. He's kind, he's sweet, he's gentle, he's generous, he's this, he's that. And then she even said, this is what she said in terms of his alleged, outbursts of anger and, everything else. She said she sincerely believed that he did not want to be that way. So if this person is this terrible, horrible person, I know I feel like if you're like that, you're like that. I'm not giving you the benefit of, oh, I don't think you really want to be that way. And she kept qualifying it. Well, he was really stressed out. She wouldn't say magazine dreams because I guess she's not allowed to, but he was filming a movie about becoming a bodybuilder. And she mentioned that movie at least 3 different times. And she just kept saying he was really stressed out and yeah, she kept basically giving him outs. So I'm like, you don't give outs to somebody that was so abusive and horrible and manipulative. I'm going hard.
Yeah.
Even if I got to start freestyling and making up stuff, I'm not going to sit there and give you excuses and outs for what you supposedly did to me for 2 years straight.
Yeah.
And then we jumped from, because I thought for sure we were going to spend the whole week with her, because we went month by month, not month by month, but like date by date. Got to January, and I'm like, damn, we're not at March yet. I'm like, we got to do February. She jumped from January to March, but they never questioned her as to, well, how was the relationship between January and March? To kind of say, well, obviously it was good because they didn't have any dates in January after one date in January, and then we fast forward to March 24th, which is almost April. You know, so I don't know. I don't know. I guess that was when they were planning on having babies and looking at rings. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. Nor does he. Yeah, never once single text message mentioned any pain, injury, nor does she send him photos of any injuries because there are none. Indeed, Stephanie's texts are inhibited and full of rage at Mr. Majors, and her only complaint about him is allegedly infidelity. At 7:45, after trying to call Mr. Majors almost every 30 seconds for hours, Stephanie went silent. From the body-worn camera, we know that between 7:45 and when Mr. Majors, who only returned to his own apartment because of her suicidal threat, see attached here, see attached here. So that's crazy. It's all attached. Um, Messages, and out of genuine concern for her safety, he found her at 11:13, unsuspicious and half naked on the floor of the walk-in closet. Stephanie had gotten sick, thrown up in the bed. Ugly picture.
Ugh.
Took a few sleeping tablets. There we go. I guess that's the blue pills.
Okay.
And
Go
had no
ahead.
and had no idea why she was in the closet, why she was half naked, what happened to her ear, why her head hurt, or why her finger hurt. When asked what happened by multiple people, both police officers and medics, I don't know, 19 times.
Mm-hmm.
19 times. They counted this. They have it on the body camera. So it happened. If they're saying it happened, I'm going to take the word of Priya Chaudhry. She's never lied to me once. To be clear, security video of the apartment building shows that Mr. Majors had not returned to the apartment. And at all, and she's not even claiming that. And at all shortly before he found Steph, and two separate witnesses verify that Steph was locked in a bedroom. Who are the two separate witnesses? It'll be the handyman and who else?
Right. I don't know.
I don't know.
We haven't gotten to that point yet, but really it would, unless there were two handymen that came, because sometimes they come in pairs.
Majors called a handyman to unlock the door and immediately found Ms. Jabari unconscious. He called 911. The 911 recording proves this also. I hope that's evidence. In other words, there's proof Majors was not with her whatsoever before he found her. She doesn't claim it. This means that whatever caused her injuries, likely falling in the closet after a night of heavy drinking and taking sleeping pills, Mr. Majors was not there when the injuries happened. In the body-worn camera, an obviously disoriented Steph admits that she did, in fact, try to grab Mr. Major's phone, which she just did on the stand today. But she did not admit to slapping, cutting, attacking, or chasing him. What?
No, she did admit to chasing him because we saw it.
According to the body-worn camera, she did not admit to that. And as the driver witnesses and Mr. Majors' photographed injuries and torn clothes prove, it's important to note Majors told the police that Steph slapped him and tore his coat. Yet the police did not ask Stephanie about this at all, in clear violation of domestic violence investigation protocol. Because what did you say about the police again?
Corrupt.
This is both
living in a penthouse apartment. And I'm sure they didn't know who he was necessarily, right? Because he was still, popping off. But I'm positive that those cops did not go see Creed or Devotion. So they probably just saw it, some black man that allegedly beat up this white presenting woman, and he's living above his means. So let's take him down because he's probably living off of her.
In his own home, Mr. Majors reported to the police that Stephanie assaulted him and showed them evidence. But the police did not even bother to question Stephanie, nor did the police seem concerned or interested whatsoever. Hey, those police officers look really stupid right now because remember, the other precincts who was there, or the two of them, two precincts, a month later said, you know what, there is enough evidence. We are going to charge her. So congratulations, police. New York officer Swaney, you signed at the first statement. Congratulations, you played yourself.
And then she turned around and today literally saying exactly what they said she didn't say.
In fact, in response to Majors telling Officer Swaney that Stephanie slapped him and may have hurt her finger doing that, The officer shockingly says, "If I smacked you right now, I'm not going to break my finger. If I smacked you right now, I'm not going to break my finger." In fact, in response to Mr. Majors telling Officer Swaney that Stephanie slapped him and may have hurt her finger doing that, he says, if I slapped you right now, it wouldn't break my finger. That's
A,
kind of like a sideways threat
a
for
big.
him.
The cop is a man with a big hand. Of course, he wouldn't break his finger. This lady, I could tell you, she's probably height wise, maybe 5'6", 5'7", and barely 120 pounds. Very small, very tiny.
I actually got a video already set up on the side of her walking. It's very informative. We can make out how tall she is.
Grace?
Yeah. Hi, Grace.
Grace? Do you have a comment, Grace?
How do you feel about being charged with a crime?
But
whatever you were saying when the video played, we didn't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. She looks like she's probably about 5'6", 5'7". Because I'm tall, so I'm always height checking people just so I can.
So you know who's date worthy.
Pretty much. It's a struggle. It's a struggle.
Even worse, Majors consistently explained what happened from his 911 call to multiple interviews with the NYPD and medics on the scene. And his account is corroborated by evidence. The police did not believe him. Even though Stephanie admitted to drinking to the point of throwing up, taking sleeping pills, and having no idea how she woke up in a closet, cut on her head, and injured finger, the police jumped to the conclusion that Mr. Majors, the young, tall, strong black man, must have done this to Stephanie. Then Officer Swaney begins coaching Stephanie to accuse Majors of assault, even pantomiming what she should say. Folks, this is all on the video.
That's crazy.
Indeed, Officer Swaney can be seen in the body-worn camera footage, touching his own neck several times when questioning Stephanie about what Mr. Majors did. Hey, yo, Danny, were you hurt at all, Danny? What's going on? What Mr. Majors did, clearly coaching her to say Majors grabbed her by the throat. Guys, this has been information that's been out since April.
And you know, pulled that back. That's not even part of the strangulation part. It's not even part of it anymore. That went out early though.
On May 9.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie never said to anyone until Officer Swaney instructed her to say it. Put another way, after answering, "I don't know," it's not loading. There it is. 19 times, Officer Swaney told Stephanie to say Mr. Majors grabbed her by the throat, and she complied. Officer Swaney, you are guilty. You should not be an officer anymore.
But he will, because worst case, what? He'll get transferred to Brooklyn.
The court, yeah, you're right. The court should also know that Miss Stephanie McMahon has done after the police arrested Majors. She has returned to his apartment and taken items worth thousands of dollars, Rolex, watches, diamond, jewelry. Continued to use his credit card for her black car service to Brooklyn and JFK, and for her food purchases.
I'll tell you something really quick. Now that you mentioned that,
yeah,
she testified that she was due to go back to London 2 days after the incident. So I'm guessing 25th, the 27th of March. Not 100% sure why they brought that up. I don't know if they were also trying to, say, because they did ask her how she got the ticket or insinuate, and so I think they're trying to make it a combination of he let her use his card, or maybe the manager booked it because she claimed the manager did a lot of the stuff for him, and trying to explain why she disappeared and went back to London right after it happened, because she claimed she had a ticket to go back 2 days later, 2 days after the 25th, because she sounded a little confused because they were talking about the next morning, because the incident spilled into the 26th after midnight. So she had to kind of correct herself and say 2 days after March 25th. So I'm guessing that would have been the 27th.
She's doing whatever it takes to make it not look like an international theft.
Mm-hmm. And that she didn't run away because she was guilty.
And remember that once Jonathan Majors does file charges against her, it was the day after they were supposed to be in court for something, right?
Mm.
And I guess I'm making the theory that they chose that day to file charges against her because they knew she'd be there where they could find her, get her cuffed, arrested, and stuff. And we know that the prosecution, who are the district attorney themselves, said, no, 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 we're going to deactivate that. Don't worry, we're not going to pursue nothing, guys. Don't worry about that. And I guess I'm guessing she fled the country then because she kept coming back and forth, is what
Mhm.
I'm saying. Is my opinion. And maybe
Right.
they're trying to get to the bottom of that. And they wanted to ask that question so that when Priya Chaudhry starts asking, they're gonna be like, no, no, objection, asked and answered, dog, on to the next thing. Because it's
Mhm.
bigger than that. It's against the DA. It's more than just this case. This DA needs to go down.
Oh, and speaking of too, real quick, earlier, like before the jurors came in or anything, there was mention of making it clear that she was not promised a work visa in exchange for all of this nonsense.
Okay, sure.
I didn't know they could do that, but okay.
You get a lot of things though. You get a
And
lot
then
of benefits.
this right across the street, and the line is usually about 500 deep every morning, but not sure if they fast tracked her with a work visa.
In this wait. Yeah, jewelry. Continue to use this credit card for the Black Lane service, Brooklyn and JFK food purchases. Asked Mr. Majors, the victim of her crime, to give her even more expensive items, and has insisted on keeping a phone, which is his property, and to which she has no legal claim. What's the evidence on that phone? The court should take this into account when evaluating Stephanie's credibility and motives in her claim that she requires a full order of protection. Yeah, that was bull. In this country, we must view everything through the prism of race. I have laid out a complete, verifiable account of what actually occurred. That's true. Now I ask Your Honor to consider this. If the roles were switched and Major's done something to Steph, what Steph did to him, what would that look like? A tall, strong, young, very famous black man sleeping, scratching, cutting, and attacking a petite white woman in a car that is booked in his name 2 feet from a driver who was watching and who clearly has a video recorder.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? He's
Right.
watching.
But then they said, I don't know. I don't know. I'm hoping they do, but it was said that it was said that there was no interior camera footage. I don't know if the camera was broken. My Escalade ain't got no, but I don't know if they have it outfitted for those those car services.
I
But
think, let me guess. Let me take my guess. Jonathan Majors doesn't want that video out there because it's going to look bad that he aggressively, you know what I mean,
right,
withheld her, tried to get her. And if you just take that in a clip out of context, just a GIF, so let's not even submit that into evidence. So he doesn't want that. And then they also don't want that in there because they clearly shows her as the aggressor. And he can win this case without even using the backseat video, right? So let me read this again one more time because it does sound like Priya Chaudhry just said that she's being recorded, right? So picture this. A tall, strong, famous black man was slapped, cutting, attacked, and attacking a petite white woman in a car that is booked in his name, 2 feet from a driver who was watching and who clearly has a video recorder. Yeah, there was a recording. And then, as she jumps out of the car to escape him, imagine that he chases her on a public street in a busy Manhattan and then rips her clothes while grabbing her to prevent her escape.
right.
Then imagine when he sees her a few minutes later, it gets back in the car in front of the driver and the 3 people on the street, that he immediately resumes his attack of her. And when she would successfully run away, when she successfully runs away, then goes clubbing. He would buy champagne on a credit card, does shots, dances the night away with the very witnesses of the violent attack. And then imagine that goes to her apartment, and if Jonathan was there to wait for her and is shocked and angry that she broke up with him after his attack. If Majors or any black man has done these things to a white woman, you might consider him a violent, dangerous, abusive psychopath.
He'd have been on Rikers Island still.
It's exactly what Steph has done. How does Your Honor consider her? What Stephanie has done here is illegal and reprehensible. She continues to victimize Mr. Majors and has a clear agenda to destroy his reputation because she's angry that he ended their relationship and her life of luxury. Facts. In
Mm-hmm.
Officer Luciero's body-worn camera, as Stephanie is leaving Mr. Major's apartment, she asks if this will be in the press and is smiling and joyful during that conversation. She also giggles and says, "We haven't even had a chance to decorate the apartment yet," suggesting that she expects to continue living in Mr. Majors' luxury apartment despite attacking him and falsely accusing him. A little
And
bit
that
psycho.
substantiated that because when they asked her, when she said that she came to the United States to live with the intention of staying and living with him, she said that the apartment was already pre-decorated, but it wasn't to their taste. And so, she was in the process of buying, things to make it more to their taste. Um, So yeah, that matches what that says, right? We didn't even get a chance to decorate because she did say that. I don't know what made her bring it up either, because like nobody cares that you would decorate in a pre-furnished, pre-decorated penthouse apartment. Like, what was the point in bringing that up? But see, she's almost like winning the case for him. Is my point.
I see it the same way. She's winning the case for him. Perfect
Mhm.
way to put it.
She's
Reading
winning
for it.
because she's volunteering a lot, and they had to reel her back a couple of times because there were a couple of yes no questions that turned into her elaborating on the answer. Like, we just asked you yes or no, why is it yes or no, but we da 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 da.
Please read the note at the previous page. I already closed that.
Ah,
Please read the note at the previous page. So
yeah,
I wasn't looking at the live chat like 7 minutes ago when you wrote this, and then you wrote it again. Please read the note at the end of the previous page. The police asked
yeah,
him if it was his house.
they did,
Why is that relevant?
because it's setting up the racism, the whole
Oh,
they can't believe that he's living like that. And like I said, now he's worldwide known, but at the time, if you weren't a Creed fan, if you didn't go see Devotion, if you didn't go see Ant-Man, who's Jonathan Majors, right? At the time, he's famous to those who follow him and have seen all of his movies, but I'm sure that those NYPD police didn't see any of those, so they didn't know. So it probably to them looked like, oh, he's living off of this rich white girl and beating her up for good measure.
I found it. She wants me to read that part at the very bottom. So let's read it at the very bottom, everybody. It says in the body worn camera footage, it shows many officers checking out Mr. Major's penthouse apartment, commenting on how large it is, and then asking him if it really is his apartment. It seems obvious from their tone and questions that the officers were surprised that someone who looks like Majors could afford such a place. And so
And that's the thing. That's definitely a real thing. It's
yeah.
everywhere, but because I've even had it happen where I'll have people come to our house and they're looking at us like, what? Are you the help? Where's the owner? You know what I mean? So
Here's the scene from Netflix that I was talking about from When They See Us. It was after he said something like, I was angry when I found out about this. And then they tried to paint not him, but
you threw a chair.
There you go. You threw a chair. This was the cross examiner. She was like, I got it. Make him look angry. Like, watch this.
Must have been pretty angry.
You must have been pretty angry. You see, that right there is what they were going for. I should play more of it. I don't want to play too much because sometimes they'll cut your stream, but this is the angle that they're going for. This is just peep game.
Out of control.
I was trying to get my son to lie.
But when the taping began, you didn't say anything like, this is nonsense. I'm not going to let my kid answer these questions.
They had told us if we cooperate, he would be a witness.
They told us we could go home. Do you honestly expect us to believe that
Let me
after
stop
your
that
son
there.
signed a statement?
I don't remember how that scene went. I think that was the relevant point I played, and I don't want to get flagged or taken off of YouTube. I'm done. That was everything I wanted to get off of my chest. Everything that Danny said was hella useful. It's been an enjoyable 2 hours. For those of you who just popped in here like Eric, rewind, because Danny was there. Danny was in the courtroom, and Danny told us everything that was relevant. We skipped past he had a dog, and he said, this is how you need to treat the dog. Like, like they tried to make it seem like he was a controller. Bull.
Well, oh, she said she claims he flipped out because she basically was trying to let him know she's used to dogs because her ex-boyfriend had one. And then she tried to make it like he lost it because that guy was an embarrassment. I don't know if it's another industry person because she claims that the way she claims he talked about him was like as if he knew who he was. He's embarrassing. How could you date him or whatever? So I'm like, okay, whatever, lady.
More people in New York are claiming that the New York Police Department are indeed the factually racist people.
Oh yes, bad.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Chillmonger. Great talk. Yeah, man.
Pleasure.
Appreciate you guys appreciating us. We're about out of here. You can expect a day 6 recap also on my channel where I read some article or some Twitter thread, and then I'll be also doing a live stream later on that night. Cat, you guys should all look at Cat's video right next. There's 200 of you people. Yeah, you got to replay the beginning. But Cat also covered this, so check her out also. Her YouTube channel is just Cat, which you should change. You should make it like Cat Chat, something else, because you can be hard to find with just 4 letters. YouTuber advice. This was informative. Thanks, Chill Danny. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Out.
Good night.